Hey guys, this is Derek of Blue Collar Chess, and in today's episode, I want to show you a calculation puzzle. So, the first move is relatively easy to find, but you've got to calculate all the moves after that, right? So, black does have a threat here. Now, it's white to move, but black does have a threat, and the threat is queen to h2, which would be a checkmate. Okay, so white has to act and block that checkmate, right? So what I would like you to do is pause the video, get a notepad, and write down all the variations that you can see and have a clear main line, okay? Because it's a pretty branchy puzzle here. So the first move is g takes f7, check. So in this position, you have to calculate king e7, king d7, king d8, and king f8, all right? So king e7 and king d7 are the same, relatively speaking, because the queen's going to take the pawn on e6, and then king's going to go to d8, and then there's going to be f8, which the pawn will promote to a queen. The rook will then take the pawn, and then the rook on f1 will take the rook on f8, and that will be checkmate. Okay, so what that looks like is in either king e7 or king d7, it doesn't matter. So we'll play king d7 here, and queen takes e6 check, king to d8, pawn promotes to queen, and rook takes queen. Right, and rook takes rook, and that is checkmate. All right, so king d8 though is a little bit trickier. So in this one, you would have to promote to a queen, rook takes queen, rook takes rook, and then when the king comes back to e7, attacking the rook, and the queen is still eyeing the h2 square, you have to block the checkmate, so the rook goes all the way back to f4. Now white's definitely winning here. He's going to have to get his pieces back around. This pawn is a problem for black, and so you have to calculate that. But once you get here, I mean, you're pretty good at that point. So the last move would be king f8, which is the best move. So it's g takes f7, check, king f8, and now this is harder move to find, right? And the next move also was the harder move to find. And so the next move is this move is knight f4. Okay. So does e5 work for black? No, e5 doesn't work because knight's going to go to e6 check. The king will then have to go to e7, and then it'll be knight takes c7. Okay, knight takes queen. So how about knight to h6 as a defense? It still doesn't work because knight takes e6, check, king to e7, knight takes c7, check. So the only decent defense is rook h6, and that's covering the 6th rank. So rook to h6, and now comes the other key move to find. So the best move in the position is queen takes e6. Well, why doesn't knight take e6 work? So knight takes e6 doesn't work because rook takes e6, and then the queen is eyeing the h2 square, and the rook is attacking the queen. So just to take a quick look at that, just like this. All right, so in this position, queen takes e6. So can the rook take e6 here? So let's see. So rook takes e6, knight takes e6, and king to e7, and with a check. All right. How about rook h7? Does that work here? So let's take a look. Queen g6. Now threatening a checkmate on g8. So rook will take f7, and knight will go to e6 check. You know, forking the king and the queen. So the best move in this position is king g7. So now this gives white enough time to take on g1. So now white's a piece up. And the only last thing you need to know is if queen takes f7, you've got queen to e7. If the queen takes the queen, the rook will take the queen. It'll be a check, and you pick up the bishop. It doesn't have to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this puzzle. I really hope that you paused it, you took a look at everything, wrote stuff down. That's the only way you're going to improve, especially for slower games, guys. All right, so this is Derek with Blue Collar Chess. We'll talk to you later.